Now I will perform the interrupted mating experiment. आपने पढ़ा है interrupted mating experiment? उसमें हम क्या करेंगे, HFR + F- को मिक्स करेंगे और अलग अलग टाइम इंटरवल पे कॉन्जुगेशन ट्यूब को हम ब्रेक कर देंगे. 5 मिनट्स, 15 मिनट्स, 30 मिनट्स, 45 मिनट्स, 60 minutes, so on and so forth. What we will do? We will try to carry out the conjugation between the HFR + F- and we will interrupt their mating at these different time intervals. Are you getting it? And we will find out that after 5 minutes which are those genes or the markers which has entered into the F-. After 15 minutes which are those genes or the markers which has entered into the F-. After 30 minutes which are the genes or the markers which has entered from HFR to F-, so on and so forth. Are you getting it? तो जो मार्कर जितना जल्दी एंटर हुआ होगा वो HFR के में जो प्लाज्मिड की इंटीग्रेशन साइट है उसके 5 प्राइम एंड की तरफ होगा. Yes or no? What we have discussed earlier, that those genes present on the chromosomal DNA nearer to the 5 prime site integration site of the F plasmid, they will enter first because they will mobilize themselves by the rolling circle mechanism. So they will enter first. So for example, I have the marker A which is getting entry into at the 5 minutes, marker C which is getting entry after 15 minutes, marker D which is getting entry after 30 minutes, marker E getting entry after 45 minutes, and marker F which is getting entry after 60 minutes. So the sequence on the chromosome that we 5 prime A C D E F 3 prime which will be present on the chromosomal DNA of the HFR strain. इसमें किसी को इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं बहुत सारे कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम में. आर यू गेटिंग दिस? ओके, तो 5 प्राइम A C D E F 3 प्राइम, दिस इज गोइंग टू बी योर सीक्वेंस ऑफ द जीन्स which are present on the HFR strain. For example, यहाँ पे एक दिया गया है, this is your HFR strain and this is your F strain. These are the different markers which are getting entered, LSC plus, TSX, GAL plus and TRP plus. Now this organism, the recipient is, it does not produce all these genes, it does not produce the enzymes, it is devoid of all these genes. Are you getting it? So that's why if all these genes will enter from HFR strain to F plus strain, it will become positive. But we want to find out that which gene is entering first. For that we have to do this experiment. So when we do this experiment, when this particular F strain will become positive with respect to this particular marker, we will be able to score them as the form of the conjugant. Yes or no? Generally streptomycin antibiotic is used. Streptomycin antibiotic is used as a selection pressure. Are you getting it? Whatever your HFR strains will be there, that will be of streptomycin sensitive, and whatever your F recombinant will be there, or whatever your conjugants will be there, they will be streptomycin resistant. So whatever the marker which you are scoring, that marker you are scoring on the streptomycin containing plate. Otherwise तो HFR का भी कॉलोनी आएगा ना. ये सर नो, HFR का बैकग्राउंड कॉलोनी आएगा. अब ये HFR का कॉलोनी है या कॉन्जुगेंट का कॉलोनी है वो आपको पता नहीं चलेगा unless until you have some mechanism to distinguish between HFR and the conjugants. Yes or no? So that's why streptomycin antibiotic is used over here as a selection marker. So what will happen? That we have to see that at what time interval all these markers will become positive and calculate the frequency, or you can say the percentage of the conjugants which are expressing the donor phenotype with respect to the different time interval after mixing. तो जो मार्कर पहले एंटर हो गया है वो तो सभी conjugants में एक्सप्रेस होगा. For example, A has entered at 5 minutes. So if A is entering into the 5 minutes, definitely it will enter at 15 minutes also, at 30 minutes also, at 45 minutes also, at 60 minutes also. Are you getting it? So that's why the frequency of transferring the marker A, which is nearest to the 5 prime end of the F plasmid integration, will be maximum. So that's why its frequency will be maximum. For example, here lag is that marker, lactose utilizing gene is that marker. So that's why the sequence will be lag, TSH, GAL and TRP. You can see the TRP is entering into the recipient cell at the lowest frequency. The reason may be that this marker may be away from the integration site of the F plasmid towards the 3 prime end. Are you getting it? So it will be present in very few conjugates. But the marker which has entered during the earlier stage of your interrupted mating experiment, it will be present in all the conjugates. Suppose here if I have scored, for example, यहाँ पे मैंने 10 conjugates लिया, यहाँ पे 10, यहाँ पे 10, यहाँ पे 10, यहाँ पे 10, टोटल कितना हुआ? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 हुआ? Yes or no? So all these 10 will have A plus these 10 will also have, we have 50 conjugates with A marker. Yes or no? We have 10, 20, 40 conjugates with B marker, 30 conjugates with D marker और जो भी है. Are you getting it? तो जो जिस मार्कर के टाइम इंटरवल से पहले ही इंसर्ट हो चुका है आगे वाले टाइम इंटरवल में, वो तो सभी जगह पे आपको पॉजिटिव मिलेगा ना. Are you getting it? तो उसकी फ्रीक्वेंसी, उसके कॉन्जुगेंट्स मिलने की फ्रीक्वेंसी सबसे ज्यादा होगी as compared to those markers which have entered inside the F minus cell later on. जैसे यहाँ पे लिखा है सबसे ज्यादा फ्रीक्वेंसी कितनी किसकी है? लैग की. Are you getting it? So here by the conjugation, by this method, we can map those genes which are located approximately 3 minutes apart from each other. Which are located approximately 3 minutes apart from each other. दो जीन अगर एक दूसरे के 3 मिनट के डिस्टेंस पे है तो आप कॉन्जुगेशन से उसका मैपिंग कर सकते हैं बाय दिस एक्सपेरिमेंट, बाय इंटरप्टेड मेटिंग एक्सपेरिमेंट. और इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं. वी विल डिस्कस सम ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस आफ्टर डिस्कसिंग द ट्रांसडक्शन. ओके, now the transduction, it is the DNA from a donor is carried by a virus, that is a bacteriophage, into a recipient cell, and each phage is having the species specific donor and the recipient which are from the same species. So phage mediated transfer is being followed by the transduction. Now you know the mechanism of transduction, you know the basic mechanism of transduction, that first of all the bacteriophage, they will bind on the surface of the bacterial cell, they will inject their DNA into the donor cell. Now how this DNA will get replicated? This DNA will again replicated by the rolling circle mechanism and they will form very large concatamers. Concatamers खबर है ना तुमने? They will produce very large concatamers. See, જેવી રીતે આપણે when we have discussed earlier the conjugation between the F plus and F minus, and we have discussed that if there is only merely just the transfer of plasmid from F plus to F minus, the probability of getting recombinant is 0. There is no probability at which the chromosomal DNA will be transferred. Similarly here also, that if this bacteriophage will transfer its DNA into the donor cell and if it will replicate its own and it will not carry any of the DNA from the chromosomal DNA, in that case the transfer or the frequency at which we will get the transduction will be almost negligible. Are you getting it? So when it will undergo replication, in case of the conjugation it will follow the rolling circle mechanism, but what it will do, it will produce these kind of the jalebi jaisa structure. It will produce these kind of concatamers, long strands of the DNA. They are known as concatamers. Now these concatamers are a very long structures and the bacteriophage has the limited packaging capacity. Agree? इतना बड़ा DNA बैक्टीरियोफाज के अंदर आप फिट कर सकते हो? Yes or no? नहीं कर सकते. तो क्या करना पड़ेगा उसको? We have to cut this concatamers into the packageable size. क्या करना पड़ेगा? Packageable size. कैसे होता है? That these concatamers, they have certain sites on them. they have certain sites on them known as PAC sites. PAC sites. Are you getting it? And these PAC sites which are present on these large concatemers, these PAC sites are being recognized by the intracellular endonucleases. They are being recognized by the intracellular endonucleases, and they will convert this DNA into these small fragments. Are you getting it? Which can be packaged into the bacteriophage. बराबर, अगर यही डीएनए फ्रेगमेंट बैक्टीरियोफाज के अंदर पैकेज हो जाता है और सेल में से बाहर निकल जाता है, तो उसको हम कहेंगे विरुलेंट फाज. उसको हम क्या कहेंगे? विरुलेंट फाज. लेकिन कभी कभी क्या होता है that there are certain sequences similar to the PAC sites are also present on the chromosomal DNA. They are also present on the chromosomal DNA. So what will happen? That the intracellular nucleases along with these concatemers, they will also degrade the chromosomal DNA. They will also degrade the chromosomal DNA from that particular site. आपको समझ में आया? पैक साइट से सिमिलर सीक्वेंस क्रोमोसोमल डीएनए में भी होता है. तो जब इंट्रासेल्युलर न्यूक्लियस एक्टिवेट होगा तो वो कॉनकेटामर्स के अलावा जो क्रोमोसोमल डीएनए के अंदर भी इस तरीके का जो सीक्वेंस है वहां से उस डीएनए को कट करेगा. आर यू गेटिंग इट? एंड एज अ रिजल्ट व्हाट विल हैपन दैट इट इज पॉसिबल that one of the chromosomal DNA fragments may also be packaged within the bacteriophage. And when this bacteriophage will undergo lytic cycle and infect the recipient cell, it may give this DNA to the chromosomal DNA of the recipient cell, and we may have the formation of the recombinant, or we may have the फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द ट्रांसडक्टेंट. ये समझ में आया आपको? बराबर. तो अब ये जो फाज है विच हैज पैकेज्ड द क्रोमोसोमल डीएनए, दिस पर्टिकुलर फाज इज नोन एज ट्रांसड्यूसिंग फाज. इट इज नोन एज ट्रांसड्यूसिंग फाज बिकॉज इट इज कैरिंग द डीएनए फ्रैगमेंट बिटवीन दैट ऑफ द क्रोमोसोमल डीएनए. दैट्स व्हाई इट इज नोन एज ट्रांसड्यूसिंग फाज. सो रिमेंबर, only transducing phage can produce the recombinant, that is your transduction, not the temperate phage. All the transducing phage are the virulent phage, but all the virulent phage are not transducing phage. Transducing phage are only those bacteriophages which has packaged the chromosomal DNA fragment. और वो कैसे होता है? कैसे होता है कि बैक्टीरियल डीएनए के अंदर भी कुछ पैक साइट जैसी सीक्वेंस होती है which is recognized by the intracellular nucleases, and they will also degrade this chromosomal DNA sequence, and if that is being packaged into the bacteriophage, that is known as transducing phage. Now here there is no specificity. They can fragment any particular fragment of the chromosomal DNA. There is no specificity. DNA के कोई भी fragment को वो package कर सकता है. So that's why this kind of transduction which is taking place is known as generalized transduction, because here it can package any fragment of the DNA which will enter inside the recipient bacterial cell. It will undergo recombination and produce a transduction. Again here the double crossing over is taking place since this fragment is double stranded. However, for the fine mapping of the genes, those genes which are nearer to that of the 3 minutes, conjugation का एक limitation है. Transduction का भी experiment जो है वो आप use कर सकते हो for the mapping of the genes. Are you getting it? Even those genes which are nearer to 3 minutes than that of the chromosome, which are located at the locations which is less than 3 minutes on the chromosomal DNA, that can be located by the transduction. तो एक question पूछा गया है JNU में कि which of the following technique is used for the fine mapping of the genes? Are you getting it? So that is transduction, because the DNA fragment which is being packaged by this bacteriophage is very small as compared to the DNA fragment which is being transformed or which is being under conjugation. Are you getting it? So that's why this particular DNA fragment which has the genes which are located or which are placed very nearer to each other. So if you want to carry out the fine mapping of gene, you can use the transduction. You can use the process of transduction. They can map those genes which are located even nearer to that of the nearer less than 3 minutes on the chromosomal DNA. However, since the DNA fragment which is being packaged is not fixed, any DNA fragment can be packaged. This is called generalized transduction. Other two transductions are also there. You are aware regarding the lambda bacteriophage. बराबर सामने है गैल बायो. Are you getting it? So lambda bacteriophage is an example of the specialized transduction where it will carry either gal or the biogene. So that's why we can say that it is a specialized transduction where either galactose utilizing gene or the biotine utilizing gene will be transferred from the donor to the recipient cell. And this lambda bacteriophage is the temperate phage because it exhibits both the lytic and lysogeny cycles. You know that there is a mechanism which involves two different proteins, C1 protein and Cro protein. C1 protein is responsible to maintain the lysogeny and Cro protein is used to maintain the lytic cycle. So that's why the lambda bacteriophage is a prophage which DNA will get integrated into the chromosomal DNA like your HFR strain, and when it will undergo lytic cycle, it will either carry gal or the bio gene. So that is the example of the specialized transduction. There are certain cases where we have the abortive transduction where the bacteriophage will carry the genes from the chromosomal DNA, but that DNA fragment will not get integrated into the chromosomal DNA. So due to the replication, that DNA fragment will get diluted further. So if you want to score that kind of transduction, you will only have pinpoint type of very small colonies, pinpoint type of colonies of the bacteria. So this indicates that this is the abortive transductant. We should not select this transductant. Why? Because it will, when we subculture further, it will lose the character. Why? It will lose the marker. Why? Because the DNA which is carried by the bacteriophage has not functionally integrated into the chromosomal DNA of the recipient cell. समझ में आया? So that's why this technique can also be used. We will briefly go through the transposition and then we will switch over to the model questions from transformation, transduction and conjugation. So transposition, you know that transposons, they are the small segment of DNA that can move independently from one region of DNA to another region. You know that in 1950, Barbara McClintock has discovered the mosaic pattern in the Indian corn. This is true that Barbara McClintock has discovered the transposon ACDS element, you know. But in bacteria, who discovered the transposon first? बैक्टीरिया के अंदर सबसे पहले ट्रांसपोजन किसने फाइंड आउट किया? ये तो बारबरा मैकलिंटॉक को जो नोबेल प्राइज मिला, ये सब दैट इज इन द मेज द मोज़ेइक पैटर्न इन द इंडियन कॉर्न. That is very much popular thing, we all know. But who discovered the transposon in bacteria? James Shapiro. Who discovered? James Shapiro has first discovered transposon in bacteria, where he has used the lambda bacteriophage. He has carried out the mutation in the galactose utilization gene of the E. coli K12 strain, and then he has infected the lambda bacteriophage with the E. coli K12 strain with the lambda bacteriophage. Now we know that lambda bacteriophage shows a specialized transduction. So when it will undergo lytic cycle, it will carry the galactose utilizing gene. So what he has done, that he has taken two different lambda bacteriophages, one which is carrying gal plus, that is lambda gal plus, and one that is from the mutant, that is the lambda gal minus. क्या किया जेम्स शेपिरो ने? What he has done? James Shapiro took E. coli strain, mutated the E. coli strain so that it becomes galactose negative, and then he has infected both the wild type strain as well as the mutant strain with the lambda bacteriophage, and they have observed that when we use this lambda gal plus and lambda gal minus bacteriophage and extract the DNA, and when we perform the density gradient ultracentrifugation, we get two separate bands. One is lambda gal plus, second is lambda gal minus. Now if there would have been point mutation in the galactose utilizing gene, आपको पता है ना mutation के types, base substitution mutation, frame shift mutation, etc., etc. Are you getting it? So if there would have been base substitution mutation, in that case there is not much difference between the density of the two DNA molecules. Yes or no? एक न्यूक्लियोटाइड के चेंज से डीएनए की डेंसिटी में फर्क आता है? ज्यादा नहीं आता है. तो उसने ये किया कि ये लैम्डा गेल माइनस जो यहाँ पे म्यूटेंट बना हुआ है उसमें बहुत ज्यादा कोई दूसरा डीएनए इंसर्ट हुआ है, उसकी वजह से उसकी जो डेंसिटी है वो बदल गई. आर यू गेटिंग इट? एंड व्हेन दे हैव analyzed this DNA from the lambda gal minus, they have come to the conclusion that it is nothing but the IS1 element which has inserted into the galactose utilizing gene, and because of this reason the galactose utilization efficiency of the bacteria has been lost. Are you getting it? जो point mutation થયું હોત તો બંનેનો બેન્ડ એક જ જગ્યાએ આવત, કારણ કે એક ન્યુક્લિયોટાઇડ માં ચેન્જ થવાથી કે ડેન્સિટી માં એટલો બધો ફરક ના પડે. આર યુ ગેટિંગ ઇટ? પણ જો 10 થી 12 ન્યુક્લિયોટાઇડ નું એક આખું જીનેટિક એલિમેન્ટ જો આ જીન ની અંદર ઘૂસી જાય તો જીન નું મ્યુટેશન પણ થાય પ્લસ એની ડેન્સિટી પણ બદલાઈ જાય. Yes or no? Because it is a 10 to 12 nucleotide DNA segment which has got inserted into that galactose utilizing gene. So when he has sequenced this, he has find out क्या है, क्या नहीं समझ में आया आपको? देखो what he has done, he took two different strains, E. coli wild type and E. coli mutant. और वो mutant कौन सा था? E. coli का वैसा mutant था जिसके अंदर galactose utilization deficiency थी, it was gal negative. बराबर. अब इन दोनों स्ट्रेन को, म्यूटेंट और वाइल्ड टाइप को क्या किया गया? लैम्डा बैक्टीरियोफाज से इन्फेक्ट किया गया. तो लैम्डा बैक्टीरियोफाज इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द स्पेशलाइज्ड ट्रांसडक्शन. जब वो लाइटिक साइकिल में जाएगा तो गैल प्लस गैलेक्टोज यूटिलाइजिंग जीन को लेके निकलेगा बाहर. यस और नो? तो उसने म्यूटेंट और वाइल्ड टाइप में से ऐसे लैम्डा बैक्टीरियोफाज को सिलेक्ट किया जिसके अंदर वाइल्ड टाइप और म्यूटेंट गैलेक्टोज यूटिलाइजिंग जीन पैकेज हुआ है. बराबर. अब उसको देखना था कि ये जो म्यूटेशन था वो कौन सी कैटेगरी का है, कौन से टाइप का है. इसलिए उसने क्या किया, इसमें से डीएनए निकाल के उसका अल्ट्रा सेंट्रीफ्यूगेशन किया, अल्ट्रा डेंसिटी ग्रेडियंट सेंट्रीफ्यूगेशन. आर यू गेटिंग इट? तो अगर इसके अंदर पॉइंट म्यूटेशन हुआ होता, अगर सिर्फ बेस सब्स्टिट्यूशन हुआ होता तो एक ही न्यूक्लियोटाइड का चेंज होता. अगर एक ही न्यूक्लियोटाइड का चेंज होता तो डेंसिटी में फर्क नहीं आता ना. डेंसिटी ग्रेडियंट सेंट्रीफ्यूगेशन में हमें एक ही बैंड मिलता है दोनों का. yes or no? लेकिन उसने क्या देखा, देयर आर टू सेपरेट बैंड्स. हाउ कैन इट बी पॉसिबल? इट इज पॉसिबल ओनली इफ the galactose utilizing gene has been inserted with a large number of nucleotides, and when they have analyzed this inserted large number of nucleotides, they have found that it is nothing but the insertion sequence 1, insertion sequence element. Are you getting it? So he has first identified this IS1 element in the bacteria. Are you getting it? E. coli strain, and that's why the credit for the transposon in the bacteria goes to James Shapiro. આપણે આને બધા ઓળખીએ છીએ આપણે, but we don't know who discovered the transposon in bacteria. So the transposons, they pop out and randomly insert at a rate of 10 raised to minus 5 to 10 raised to minus 7 per generation, and this integration is random. It can disrupt the genes at a minimum. Transposons carry the genetic information to carry out own transposition, and they may also carry the other genes. So on this basis there are two different kind of transposons we will discuss. One is the simple transposon, which will carry the genes of its own transfer, that's all. When it will get inserted into the target DNA, they will not confer any additional property to that DNA. Are you getting it? So these kind of transposons are also known as selfish DNA. It is also known as selfish, स्वार्थी છે, selfish DNA છે. કેમ? કારણ કે જ્યારે એક DNA એડ્રેસ થી બીજા DNA એડ્રેસ પર જાય છે, ત્યારે એ DNA ને કોઈ એડિશનલ પ્રોપર્ટી આપતું નથી. That's why it is known as selfish DNA. So all the IS elements, they are selfish DNA. They are selfish DNA. They do not confer any additional property to the target DNA. They do not confer any additional property to the target DNA. But there are certain transposons known as complex transposons. They have some additional marker. For example, heavy metal resistance marker or antibiotic resistance marker. जैसा आपने पूछा था, antibiotic resistance marker, RTF, जिसकी हमने बात की. Resistance transfer factor is nothing but the transposon. Are you getting it? So there are certain transposable elements. Apart from its own gene for transfer, they also carry the additional marker. So when they will get inserted into the target DNA, they confer that particular property to the target DNA. For example, if it contains antibiotic resistance, it confer antibiotic resistance to the target DNA. Are you getting it? So genes which will get carried with the transposon, when it moves, the transposon can be carried between the cells, on the plasmids, or by viruses, and even between the species. Any organism can carry the transposons. Depending on where it inserts and what genes it carries, it can mediate good or bad genetic change. Most of the viruses which are responsible, which are known to trigger the carcinogenic genes in our body, for example, Ras sarcoma virus, it has these kind of transposons. Are you getting it? So that's why when it will get inserted, it will lead to the uncontrolled replication of the DNA during the S phase, and that's why you will suffer from the tumor or the cancer. Are you getting it? So here I have shown you two different transposons. One is the IS element. Now it has a gene for its own transposition known as transposase gene, which is generally encoded by the TNPA gene, and the very characteristic of this transposon is inverted repeats. The inverted repeats. इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन पूछा जाता है, आपको ट्रांसपोजोन की एक साइड की सीक्वेंस दी गई है, आपको पता ना है दूसरे साइड पे क्या सीक्वेंस है. Inverted repeats. You can see, you can concentrate on this sequence. Suppose the sequence at the 5 prime end is ACTT Now the exact reverse complement will be present on the 3 prime end. What is it? ATC AGT AAGT. Are you getting it? Reverse complement. બરાબર. T અહીંયા T થી પૂરું થાય છે, 3 ડેશ એન્ડ ઉપર આપણે T થી શરૂ કરવાનું, પણ T થી નહીં શરૂ કરવાનું, એનો કોમ્પ્લિમેન્ટ થી શરૂ કરવાનું. Are you getting it? So these kind of questions are being asked in the examination. That 5 prime end का आपको insertion sequence दिया गया है, आपको find out करना है what sequence may be present on the another end of that particular transposon. Are you getting it? उसका 5 prime और 3 prime end का बहुत ध्यान रखना. Are you getting it? They must have given two same sequence, but with the different 5 prime and 3 prime ends. For this it is 5 prime ATCAG TAAGT 3 prime. अगर आपको ऑप्शन में दिया गया है 3 prime ATCAG TAAGT, then it is the wrong option, because it starts from which end? It starts from which end? 5 prime end. Are you getting? हाँ, लेकिन ऐसा दिया गया है 3 prime TGAAT GACTA, so it is the correct option. Are you getting it? Okay. The complex transposon, apart from the insertion sequences, apart from the genes TNPA and TNPR, it also carries some selection marker. For example, kanamycin resistant marker also carries the kanamycin resistant marker. तो ये जहाँ जहाँ पे जाएगा ये ट्रांसपोजोन, it will transfer kanamycin resistance. Now, as far as the mechanism of the transposition is concerned, by and large, there are two mechanisms. One is the replicative mode of transposition. पता है आपको? There are two different mode of transposition. One is the replicative mode of transposition, and second is non-replicative mode of transposition. Replicative mode of transposition मतलब क्या? कि जो ट्रांसपोजोन the transposon which is present in the DNA, for example plasmid, suppose this is PN10 transposon which is present in the plasmid. Replicative transposition मतलब suppose this is donor DNA and this is your target DNA in which the transposon is to be inserted. Replicative transposon मतलब क्या हुआ कि during the transposition this TN10 transposon will undergo replication and it will produce its extra copy. That extra copy will be transferred to the donor DNA, to the recipient DNA. So as a result we will have two DNA molecules which are having the transposon TN10. Transposon can be shown, they can be symbolized by TN, by TN. So here you can see that we have donor and recipient which are carrying one transposon. One copy of the transposon is given to the recipient. The original copy is retained with the donor. This is known as replicative transposon. लेकिन ये process direct नहीं होता है. There is one intermediate called co-integrate, because this is a recombination process. मैंने आपको बताया था ना, it is a recombination process. So before these two donor and recipient are being resolved by the TNPR gene product, which will code for the enzyme resolvase, which has the same activity as your RUV ABC gene product. Are you getting it? RUV ABC gene product in holiday model, that is your homologous recombination. खबर पड़े छे तुमने? Are you getting it? So that's why TNPR gene product is responsible for this kind of resolution. So if you have the mutation in the TNPA gene, there is no integration of the transposon at all. And if you have the mutation in the TNPR gene, you have the accumulation of the co-integrate structure. Are you getting it? So in the replicative mode of transposition, both the donor as well as the recipient, it is similar to that of your F plus plus F minus conjugation. जिसमें दोनों F plus strain होते हैं. Yes or no? Similarly यहाँ पे transposition के बाद क्या होता है? Both the cells, both the donor and the recipient DNA will have one copy of the transposon. Are you getting it? In case of the non-replicative transposon, what will happen? There is no replication. There is no replication of the transposon during the transfer, during the recombination, and that's why what will happen? That your recipient will contain. Generally, the example for the non-replicative mode of transposition is TN3 transposon. So here there is no replication. So your recipient will contain TN3 transposon, which is transferred from the donor, and donor will have the gap, and this gap is being filled by the DNA polymerase. Are you getting it? So that's why now the recipient will have the transposon, donor is now vacant. It does not have the copy of the transposon. So that is the non-replicative mode of transposition. TN3 is an example for the non-replicative mode, and TN10 is an example of the replicative mode of transposition. Okay. Now very important model questions. There are 5 to 6 model questions that we will discuss, and then we will end this lecture. Okay. I will read out the first question. That phage P1 lysate, this is from the conjugation, the transaction, sorry. The phage P1 lysate was raised on an E. coli strain with a genotype TN10. It means that the gene itself contains the TN10 transposon. It goes without saying, right? And the ABCD genes. and it has used to transduce a wild type strain of E. coli. See, in competitive examination you may have these kind of paragraph like questions, but you must develop the patience to read them. Are you getting it? The question will be very easy. आप क्या करते हो? मोटा मोटा फकरा वाला सवाल है, nothing much. Don't want to read. Are you getting? Sometimes these questions are much more easy than the single line questions. You know that? Are you getting it? So what is the question? That the phage P1 lysate was raised on an E. coli strain with a genotype TN10 ABCD and used to transduce a wild type strain of E. coli. Now, the transductants were selected on the tetracycline, which is because TN10 carries the tetracycline resistant marker. So all the transductants which will be screened, that will be on the basis of the tetracycline resistance, and then they are checked for the transfer of the remaining markers, that is A, B, C and D. Right? Are you getting the question? Okay. Now, and then they are checked for the transfer of the remaining markers. What was the result? That 20% of the transductants were B. Whatever the total number of tetracycline resistant strains were there, out of them 20% were B, 40% were C, 10% were D, but all of them were A plus. Whether it is a D transductant, C transductants or B transductants, all of them will be having the A plus phenotype. So, assuming that all the markers were on one side of the TN10, what will be the order of the marker? A सबके अंदर है, it is carrying along with all the markers. So A सबसे पहले enter हुआ होगा, A, then C, then B and D. What will be the sequence? T and 10, A, C, B and D. Are you getting it? तो अगर आप क्या करते हो, ये क्वेश्चन कितना है, 5 लाइन का नहीं पढ़ना है. If you read this question carefully and if you have understood the process properly and rationally, you will be able to answer this. Very easy to answer. This question is asked in JNU exam 2003, that a culture of the tetracycline sensitive bacteria was infected by a phage that is delivered from the lysis of the tetracycline resistant bacterial strain. This result in the development of tetracycline resistance in the original culture. What phenomenon has occurred? एकदम easy question है. What phenomenon might have occurred? Transduction. ये आपको पता होना चाहिए. अगर आपको ट्रांसडक्शन का मैकेनिज्म पता है, you will be able to. पर लेकिन उसने पूछा कैसे है, आप देखिए, सीधा नहीं पूछा है. Are you getting it? Okay. ये जो मैंने आपको बात की थी, how to map the genes on the basis of co-transformation, co-transduction और co-conjugation frequency of different genes. क्या पूछा है? That if co-transformation frequencies of 3 different genes X, Y and Z are, co-transformation frequency of XY is given, that is 20%, YZ 10% and XZ 40%. This question is asked in TIFR exam 2013, जो लास्ट ईयर एग्जाम हुआ था TIFR का, उसमें ये क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है. Co-transformation frequency for XY is 20%, YZ 10% and XZ 40%. Then what should be the order of these genes on the chromosome? Calculate. I am giving you 2 minutes. चलो फटाफट. Give me the answer within 2 minutes. क्वेश्चन समझ में आ रहा है आपको? को ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन फ्रीक्वेंसी सबका दे दिया गया है. You have to find out which is the correct order of the genes on the chromosome. समझ में आएगा है? एक बार मैं आपको दिखा देता हूँ, अदरवाइज देखो यहाँ पे. एनी हाउ देखो, व्हाट इज द फ्रीक्वेंसी बिटवीन द XZ, XY 20%, YZ 10%, and XZ is 40%. So what this indicates? This indicates that X is much closer to Z than Y. What this indicates? That X is much closer to Z than Y because transformation frequency of XZ is more than XY. Are you getting it? So it indicates that X and Z must be together. या तो X के बाद Z आएगा या तो Z के बाद X आएगा, ये तो फिक्स है. Because it has the maximum co-transformation frequency. Okay. Now YZ is 10% and XY is 20%. This indicates that compared to this, the Y is much more closer to XY. कितना है? XY is 20%. So Y is much more closer to X, much more far away from X with compared to Z. Yes or no? So the result will be ZXY. The result will be ZXY. ZY पॉसिबल नहीं है क्योंकि उसका जो फ्रीक्वेंसी है वो सबसे लोवेस्ट है 10%. द फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ YZ इज लोवेस्ट 10%, तो वो हम साथ में नहीं रख सकते ना. Are you getting it? It means the Z and Y are farthest on that particular chromosomal fragment. Are you getting it? So that's why the order of the gene, आपको समझ में आया? पाछड़ order of the gene is ZXY. Okay. A culture of the tetracycline sensitive bacteria was infected by a phage. Okay, this already we have discussed. What is the process? That already we have discussed. Which of the following statement is incorrect? देखो आपको बहुत सारे ऐसे क्वेश्चंस मिलेंगे कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम में जिसमें ऐसे कुछ वर्ड्स यूज किए होंगे. Which of the following statement is not correct? Which of the following statement is incorrect? Or which of the following statement is correct except? ऐसा लिखा होगा except. तो ऐसे जब क्वेश्चन आता है तो हर एक ऑप्शन के सामने आप ट्रू और फॉल्स लगाइए. Are you getting it? Which statement? अगर ऐसा पूछा है that which of the following statement is incorrect except, तो आपको correct statement ढूंढना है. Are you getting it? You need to interpret the question. Are you getting it? आपको क्या ढूंढना है उसमें? Which of the following statement is incorrect except, तो आपको क्या ढूंढना है? Correct statement ढूंढना है. Are you getting it? यहाँ पे क्या पूछा है? Which of the following statement is incorrect? That during the conjugation of F plus and F minus recipient E. coli, a copy of F factor is almost always transferred to the recipient. This is a correct statement because it does not involve the transfer of the chromosomal genes, right? The second is that conjugation between the HFR strain and F minus strain leaves the recipient strain F minus. This is also correct statement because before the 100 minutes the conjugation tube or the sex pilus is broken down. It cannot last for the 100 minutes. So this is also the correct statement. The conjugation between the HFR strain and F minus strains result in high frequency of recombination and therefore recipient become HFR or F plus. So this statement is found to be incorrect. That is statement number C. What is last one? Conjugation between F plus and F minus strain result in the recipient becoming F plus. This is also correct. So the incorrect statement is C. Why it is not possible? Because it is not possible to transfer the entire chromosomal DNA into the recipient cell F minus, and because of that reason it will remain F minus only. जैसा मैंने आपको पहले बताया, it will not get converted into the F plus cells. Now last slide, don't worry, last slide. This question is asked in IISc PhD examination in 2008. That is on the interrupted mating experiment which we have discussed. How it can be used for the mapping of the genes. The HFR cross F minus conjugation was performed and conjugates were screened on the basis of the streptomycin resistant character. It was observed that after 20 minutes the frequency of lysine plus conjugates were found to be 60%. when they are analyzed for other two markers, trip and gal, means ये जो 60% lysine को है, they will be checked for these two markers, tryptomycin and gal. मतलब कितने lysine conjugates gal plus और tryptophan plus है, वो चेक किया गया. Out of those 60% lysine conjugates. Now it was observed that all the lysine plus conjugates were gal plus. All the lysine plus conjugates were gal plus, but trip minus. What will be the order of these genes in the HFR strain? चलो कौन बताएगा ये आंसर? Lysine will be the okay. What will be the correct answer out of these four? 5 days 3 days का ध्यान रखना, इसमें कंफ्यूजन नहीं होना चाहिए. जैसे मैंने आपको पहले बताया था, 5 प्राइम एंड का जो इंटीग्रेशन साइट है आपका एपिसोम का, एफ प्लाज्मिड का, वहां के जो जीन्स हैं वो पहले एंटर होंगे. देखो आपको कंफ्यूज करने के लिए वो 3 प्राइम 5 प्राइम ऐसा डालेगा, एग्जामिनर डालेगा 3 प्राइम एंड 5 प्राइम एंड. व्हाट विल बी द करेक्ट आंसर? Yes, all agree. 5 prime lysine, all the lysine are positive as far as the galactose utilization is concerned, and trip negative. So possibility is that lysine must have entered first into the F minus, followed by gal and trip. Lysine and gal must have entered almost within a very narrow time period. Are you getting it? So they must have transferred together. Are you getting it? So that's why 5 prime lysine, gal and trip. This is the correct answer. अगर ये this is not the correct answer. ये सीक्वेंस आपको सेम लगता है, लेकिन आप 5 प्राइम 3 प्राइम एंड को देखिए. Are you getting it? सिर्फ सीक्वेंस को नहीं देखना है. Apart from the sequence you have to see 5 प्राइम कहाँ दिया गया है, 3 प्राइम कहाँ दिया गया है. Are you getting it? In the simple transposon, if the sequence present at the 5 prime end is AAGGCTAC, what sequence will be present at the 3 prime end? ये भी IISc PhD में पूछा गया है 2003 में. IISc का जो कंबाइंड एग्जाम होता है, इंटीग्रेटेड MSc PhD का एग्जाम, उसमें ये पूछा गया है. In the simple transposon, if the sequence present at the 5 prime end is AAGGCTAC, what sequence will be present at the 3 prime end? What is the characteristic of the yes? B option. Okay. T T C C G E E G. Okay. B is correct. Everybody, all of you are agree with this? बराबर, because we have to count from the 5 prime end. अगर यहाँ पे 3 प्राइम दिया होता, यहाँ पे अगर 3 प्राइम दिया होता तो इसको हमको उल्टा लिखना पड़ता. Are you getting it? So the correct answer is 3 prime DT CCGAT G5 prime. तो इस तरीके के क्वेश्चंस जो है वो पूछे जाते हैं एग्जाम के अंदर. यू कैन वर्क आउट. बराबर. A क्या है? A 5 प्राइम A G C T A C. हम करके देख लेते हैं. Let us do this. 5 प्राइम A G C T A C 3 प्राइम. अब मुझे क्या करना है, उसका रिवर्स कॉम्प्लीमेंट लिखना है. तो 5 प्राइम G T A G T A G C C T T 3 prime. So 3 prime T T C C G A T G 5 prime is the correct option. नहीं 5 prime एंड लिखा. हाँ 3 prime एंड. टूवर्ड 3 प्राइम एंड पूछा है ना. 2 एंड है 5 प्राइम और 3 टूवर्ड 3 प्राइम एंड. लेकिन 3 प्राइम एंड तक आपको अगर पहुंचना है तो आपको 5 प्राइम एंड की तरफ भी तो कोई सीक्वेंस होगा। अरे बेटी 3 प्राइम एंड की तरफ पूछा है ना, तो शुरू तो 5 प्राइम से ही होगा बराबर। लेकिन इसने यहाँ पे क्या किया है, आपको कंफ्यूज करने के लिए 5 प्राइम 3 प्राइम बदल दिया। समझ में आ रही बात? ये जो पोर्शन है GATG, G है दैट इज टुवर्ड, इट इज एट द 3 डैश एंड बट टुवर्ड्स 5 प्राइम एंड। यस और नो? दिस इज एट द 3 प्राइम एंड, दिस इज टुवर्ड्स 5 प्राइम एंड। यस और नो? तो इसको मैं ऐसे भी लिख सकता हूँ 3 प्राइम TT CC GATG 5 प्राइम, ऐसा भी तो मैं लिख सकता हूँ इसको। आर यू गेटिंग इट? सो दिस काइंड ऑफ सीक्वेंस कैन बी आस्क्ड. Okay, one question has been given over here, that a mammalian cell has an outstretched double-stranded DNA of 1.2 meters, which is duplicated in 4 hours. If it duplicates at the rate of 20 micrometers per minute, how many origins of replication are there in the DNA? How many replication origins are there in the DNA? 1.2 meters का DNA है, तो इसको पहले आप माइक्रोमीटर में कन्वर्ट कर दो. कन्वर्ट देम इनटू द माइक्रोमीटर. कन्वर्ट देम इनटू द माइक्रोमीटर. अब 4 आवर्स में अगर, तो वो जो माइक्रोमीटर में है 20 माइक्रोमीटर्स अगर 4 आवर में वो कन्वर्ट कर सकता है, तो 1.2 मीटर्स को जो आपने माइक्रोमीटर्स में कन्वर्ट किया वो कितने टाइम में हो जाएगा, दैट यू कैलकुलेट. आर यू गेटिंग इट? तो आई थिंक हियर द आंसर इज 250. आई थिंक ये क्वेश्चन में मुझे पूछा गया था, हमारी कॉलेज में ही कोई लेके आया था. हियर द आंसर इज 250. करेक्ट आंसर 1.2 मीटर जो उसको आप पहले माइक्रोमीटर में कन्वर्ट कर लीजिए. बराबर. करेक्ट आंसर इज 250 है. 250 replication origins must be there. देखो 1.2 मीटर्स जो है उसको आप पहले कन्वर्ट कर दीजिए माइक्रोमीटर्स में. अब यहाँ पे 1 मिनट में अगर 20 माइक्रोमीटर्स होता है तो 4 घंटे मतलब कितना मिनट हो गया, कितना मिनट हो गया, 240 मिनट्स में ये 1.2 मीटर्स जो होगा वो कितने राउंड जाएगा उसका आप रेशियो ले लीजिए. वी विल ट्राई ओवर हियर. .2 meters that is 1.2 into 10 raised to 6 micrometers time 4 hours, that is 240 minutes. Rate 20 micrometers per minute. So if in 1 minute we have 20 micrometers of DNA which is getting replicated in 240 minutes, how much DNA will get replicated? इसको कैलकुलेट करो. 4800 आएगा. 4800 माइक्रोमीटर्स ऑफ DNA. नाउ हमको कितना करना है, 1.2 इंटू 10 इसका रेशियो ले लीजिए. 1.2 इंटू 10⁶ डिवाइडेड बाई 4800 कीजिए, कितना आ रहा है. डिवाइडेड बाय 4000. इट इज आई थिंक 250. ये आप जरा कीजिए. कैलकुलेटर पे, डू दिस 250, so it must be having 250 origin of replication in order to completely allow the transcription of 1.2 into 10 raised to 6 micrometer of DNA. Are you getting it? अगर एक रेप्लिकेशन ओरिजिन होगा तो इतना 4800 माइक्रोमीटर डीएनए ही बस 240 मिनट में होगा. नहीं समझ में आ रहा है आपको? अगर सिर्फ एक रेप्लिकेशन ओरिजिन होगा तो सिर्फ 4800 माइक्रोमीटर ही डीएनए रेप्लिकेट होगा. लेकिन हमको कितना करना है? 1.2 इंटू 10 रेज टू 6. तो ऐसे पता चलेगा 1.2 इंटू 10 रेज टू 6 डिवाइडेड बाय, मतलब ऐसे कि भाई 4800 माइक्रोमीटर डीएनए को रेप्लिकेट करने के लिए एक रेप्लिकेशन ओरिजिन चाहिए. तो 1.2 इंटू 10 रेज टू 6 माइक्रोमीटर डीएनए को रेप्लिकेट करने के लिए कितना रेप्लिकेशन ओरिजिन चाहिए? So 1.2 into 10 raised to 6 divided by 4800, that comes to 250. So we need 250 origin of replication if we want to completely replicate 1.2 into 10 raised to 6 micrometers of DNA. ठीक है?